Hi guys, welcome to AndroGuider. So today we will be checking out Resurrection Remix 6.1.0. So this is an official build of the ROM for the Redmi Note 3, and it's based on the latest version of Android, that is 8.1.0. The newest security patches are present, and even if you are watching this video sometime later on and your device is supported officially by Resurrection Remix, then the latest security patches would be present in the most recent builds. Next, the SE status of the stock kernel is enforcing by default. You can change that to permissive if you want to, but for that you would be requiring root access. And talking about that, the ROM does come with root access, but it's only available for ADB. So if you want to be able to use root access on your phone, then you will either have to flash Magisk or the Super SU add-on from Lineage. I'll be having links to both of them down below in the description box. But personally, I would recommend you to use Magisk because that helps in bypassing the safety net check, and that is important if you use any banking or any other payment app. So let's get into the ROM customizations. First up, we have the clock and date settings. This You have got three alignment options: right, center, or left. Currently, the clock is aligned to the right. This is the centered alignment, and this is how it looks like in the left. Then, if you want to show the AM/PM style, then you can do that. Currently, we have the normal font style, and this is the small font style. So, and or if you just want to hide the AM/PM entirely, then you can do that too. And next, you can configure the font size of the clock. The maximum value is 23 and the minimum is 0, and that will obviously hide the clock. Then there are a couple of font styles that we have in here. I will just scroll through this list and let you guys have a look at all the options that we get in here. And this is the black style, and I have been using this one personally. So I'll just change the clock to the center. Yeah, and I'll just increase the font size a bit. Okay, so then if you want to show the seconds beside the clock, you can do that. And when if you want to show the date too, there is an option for that. And when you enable the show date option, a bunch of other options will be unlocked. Once again, we have got a lot of options for the date formats. So I will scroll through the list again and let you guys have a look at what all we get in here. Then if you want to change the style of the date, you can do that. This is the normal style, this is the lowercase style, and this is the uppercase style. And if you want the font size of the date to be smaller than that of the clock, then you can enable the small option, or you can just disable it. I will just hide the date entirely. Moving on, we have the network traffic indicators now. Okay, I'll just go back and hide the AMPM style. And currently, if you can see, I don't know whether you were able to make this out or not, but you can see right now also that the clock is overlapping with the network traffic indicators. So and I know whether I should term this as a bug or not, but just be if you are using the network traffic indicators, just keep in mind that you would have to select the font size of the clock depending on that, so that it doesn't overlap with the network traffic indicators if you set the alignment of the clock to the center. So just keep that in mind. I'll just hide the clock entirely. Yeah, so talking about the network traffic indicators, the by default the value is the net activity auto hide threshold value is set to as 1. But like me, if you want the network traffic indicators to always be shown, then you can slide that value down to 0. Next, we have the notification ticker. So again, if you are like me and you don't like the heads up notifications, I personally find them annoying. So I prefer to have the notification style that we had back in KitKat, and that was the ticker animation style. So what this basically does is whenever there is a notification, if you do remember KitKat, then whenever there is a notification, that notification will be shown in the status bar, and there won't be any annoying pop-up such as in the heads up notifications. So there are ticker notifications are available for both notifications and music. I have them enabled for both the notifications and music. But if you want to, you can show it for just for the notifications or hide it entirely. By default, that option is by default notification ticker is disabled. And then there are two animation styles, fade and scroll. You can choose whichever one you want. Then we have a couple of battery tweaks. You can choose the battery icon style. This is the portrait icon, this is the circle icon, this is the dotted circle, This is the big circle, big dotted circle, square, and then in the end, if you just want to show the battery percentage as a text, you can do that. And if you want the battery percentage to be shown inside the icon, then there is an option for that too. Battery bar, you can configure the color, the low battery color, and there is even an option for setting a custom charging color if you want to. Then if you use a couple of colors, then you can blend them as well. Reverse color direction, you can tweak the alignment. This is the regular alignment, this is the center mirrored one, and this is the reversed one. Also, you can tweak the thickness. The minimum value is 1 dps, and this is how it looks like, and the maximum is 4. Charging animation, you can enable that if you want to. Then we have our status bar weather settings, and this is a bug that we have in the ROM. I have looked into this, and I'll just show you guys the miscellaneous section. And when I will go into weather settings and service settings, you can see that I have configured everything. And in fact, the last update time for the weather was on was on 12:40. Was on, in fact, I guess it's just refreshed the weather now. Yeah, and it has refreshed the weather now. You can see the last update time is just now. And when I will go back, let me show that to you again. Yeah, so when I will go back to the status bar weather settings, you can see that I have enabled the weather show temperature with scale, but you clearly can't see any weather on the in the status bar. And also I have enabled the show weather option on the lock screen, but the weather is not being shown there too. So again, so clearly this is a bug in the ROM, and there are a couple of other bugs in the ROM too. I just started using Resurrection Remix, and I'll make sure that I pass on the information about all these bugs to the Resurrection Remix team. And hopefully, these are really minor bugs. And going by the standards of Resurrection Remix, their team is really prompt up in fixing bugs. They look after issues really well. So hopefully, this issue will be rectified in the next couple of builds, and everything would be working back to normal. Hopefully. Okay, so if you just want to have a look at what all options that we have in the status bar weather style, then these are the options that we get. You can show the temperature with scale, without scale, or show the image and show the image or and the scale as well. So bunch of options. You can configure the font style and the font size too. Moving on, we have the brand logo. I personally have this enabled. This will enable the Resurrection Remix brand logo, and you can set the alignment to left or right, whatever you want. Then we have got custom logos too, and there are a bunch of options in that too. Firstly, we have the position settings. You can set the position to as left or right, and there are a bunch of image options to choose from. So again, I'll just scroll down and let you guys have a look at what we get in here. All right, moving on. Next, we have the system icons. So from in here, you can enable or disable any icon that you want to. I will move on, and let's get into the status bar gestures now. And here we have our brightness control and double tap to sleep. Carrier label settings, we have the standard options. You can configure where you want to show the carrier label on the lock screen, status bar, or both of them. And then if you want to set a custom carrier label, then you can type that in, and you can see the text changes to AG. Then the carrier label text size, you can tweak that too. Sorry, yeah. And then there are a couple of font styles, just as we saw in the clock and gate settings. So just disable the carrier label, and then we have the system UI tuner, and from in here too you can enable or disable a bunch of other icons. Panels, so if you want to use a custom header image, by default this option is disabled, and this is what the notification the header looks like by default. And when you enable this, I had a static image set. So there are a couple of options. You can either use a image collection. Image collection is basically these are time contextual headers. So there will be a different header image for the afternoon, for the evening, the morning, and for the nighttime. In the static header image, the header image will remain constant throughout the day. And if you want, then there's also an option for setting a custom image from the gallery. So let me just quickly load this up, And yeah, the this does work. I remember having seen this custom image option for the header images in back in a nougat based ROM. And back then when I set a custom header image, there was a lot of lag going through a quick settings panel. But that isn't the case here. So I will just quickly enable image collection, and I will show you guys what all images we get in the ROM. So we have got a couple of image packs that you can see. So I'll just quickly show you guys what all images that we have in here. So this is the colorful headers image pack, and you can see that the images are labeled as per the different times of the day. Then we have the nature images, random nature. uh, So basically the nature and random nature are basically the same. The difference in here is that in the random nature images, there will be a different image every time you open up the quick settings panel. Okay, I'll just quickly show you that what I mean. So I will set this to as nature random, nature random. I don't know what else I was saying. Okay, so you can see currently we have the this image, and now when I will scroll down again. Okay, all right. um well, at least how this is supposed to work is that whenever each time you will scroll down into the quick settings panel, each time there would be a random image would be selected from the nature images pack, and that image would be shown in the header image. But I don't know, the image is somehow not changing. But I am definitely sure that this is how it is supposed to work. A random image is supposed to be selected every time you open up the quick settings panel. But apparently I don't know why this isn't working. um all right, there are a couple of other bugs that I have that are there on the list, and I don't know, I'm not really sure whether this is a bug or a coincidence that the same image is being pulled out every time. But I guess this is a bug, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Uh, then we have the poly header images pack, and lastly we have the wavy header images. So yeah, a great collection of all the images. And if you want to set a static image, then all you have to do is just open up the header image pack of your choice. Say if I just want to set this sunset image, all I will do is just simply tap on it, and you can see header image set. So yeah, there you have it. And then in the end you can configure the header image shadow. This is currently the value was about 40%, I guess. This is what it looks like at 40%, and this is what it will look like at 0%. And if you go all the way up to 100, that will just obviously hide the header image. Then we have got the volume dialog settings. You can configure the dialog timeout, and a bunch of other tweaks are there. Opacity, corner radius. You can even have a volume dialog if you want. You can have a border around the volume dialog, and this is how it looks like. So a couple of other options. Then you can configure the dialog stroke thickness, the dash width, the dash gap. I'll just quickly show you guys. Yeah, so looks cool. Yeah. Then we have got similar settings for the power menu. You can configure the opacity and the dim background amount. Notifications, force expanded notifications, disable immersive mode messages, selector notifications, display input methods, selector notification when you are basically when you are typing in a notification would be shown to change the keyword if you want to do that. Then kill app back button is there. Kill app button. The show a kill app button in the notifications long press menu. So I'll just open this up, and there you can see that we have the kill app button. Next, we have got the quick pull down and the smart pull down. Tiles layout, you can configure the grid size for both the portrait and the landscape mode. Scroll through small quick setting tiles. This option is disabled by default, and currently as you can see I'm trying to scroll, but I can't navigate through the different quick setting tiles. When I have this option enabled, I would be able to go through all the quick setting tiles right away from here. Then if you want the tiles to be shown below the quick setting tiles, this is what the setting is for. If I disable that, now no text is shown, so that's what that setting is for. Brightness slider and auto brightness, if you want to disable them, then you can do that. Advanced settings, easy tile add, and this is another, I guess this is another bug that we have in the ROM. So say if I just want to add this USB tethering icon to the quick settings panel. Now when I will try and add it, you can see that I somewhere lose it midway when I'm dragging it all the way up. And Just simply tapping on it doesn't add it to the quick settings panel, and that is where that easy tile add option comes in. So when you enable that option, and now when you try and add a quick setting tile, all you have to do is just simply tap on that and it will be added to the quick settings panel. I'm not really sure whether that dragging thing is a bug or not, but as I showed you, that doesn't work. um, Easy tile add option, I will definitely recommend you to have this enabled. And this was a bug in the nougat based version of Resurrection Remix 2. There was this bug earlier, but then they rectified it in the future builds. So hopefully this bug will be rectified too. I'm not very sure whether this is a bug or not. I guess it is, but I'm not sure. Then if you want the music title track to be shown as the title name for the music quick setting tile, we have a quick setting tile for that too. And talking about quick setting tiles, I'll just let you guys have a look at what all quick setting tiles do we get. So these are the tiles that are enabled by default, and I have added the volume and USB tethering by myself. And these are the tiles that you can add on. So this is the music tile that I was telling you about. If you want the title of that tile to be changed to the music track that is playing, then you can enable that option. All right, so this is what we get, and you can reset uh, by using that option from the three-dotted menu. Then we have got the QS. We have got vibrate on touch, QS footer warnings, show the settings icon, show the running services icon. You can configure the panel background transparency, and this is another bug, I guess. Animation styles. So if I'll just go and let me just show you the auto rotate option. This is the best example that we have. So currently this is the animation that we have, and when I set this to as flip, the quick setting tile icon should flip actually, but as you can see, it doesn't flip. Even if I show you the airplane mode, then that also doesn't work. And if I set the animation to rotate to, then also that doesn't work. So this is another bug that we have. And then in the end, we have the tiles animation interpolator, and you can choose that. So you can tweak the tiles animation interpolator. Next, we have the recent settings, the clear all button that isn't enabled by default, and we have got the 6 location pack, and this is the clear all button. Then you have the recent styles. So from here you can configure the clear all button style. There are a lot of options. Um, so this is all that we have. I personally prefer to have the nougat version because that shows that bin. I just prefer that. And custom recent style, if you want to show the recents lock beside any app in the recent header. So what this means is, I don't know, it should show. So if you will just keep that open the recent tray and just wait for a while, you will see this lock icon in the memory. And when you tap on it, the app that you have opened in the memory, that will be just logged into the memory. And when you will just try to tap on the clear all button, then that app wouldn't be removed from the memory since we have it logged into the memory. And as you can see, you just wait a while and that lock icon would be shown. Then if you want to animate the clear all icon, then you can enable this option. And if you want to display the stock recents in a grid style, then there's an option for that too. But that only comes in handy when you have a couple of apps open. So just let me do that. I open the messaging app and I'll do the settings app. Let's just open up the camera too. Yeah, so now when you will go back to the grid style, uh, all right. Okay, I'm not really very sure because I was using this ROM. Have been using this ROM since the last 2 days. This build was dated on the 24th of July, and I have been using it since then. And back then, I didn't actually have any such issues that I'm facing right now. What I did was I just clean flashed the ROM again this very morning because I really like to show you guys how the ROM looks like actually without GApps or any other mods. But apparently, this I don't know. Maybe this was a bad flash, but some bugs are showing up. I don't know what happened, but I did a clean flash. So maybe this is being caused by the recent log. So I'll just disable that and let's see. I don't know. Probably the icons are being hidden. I guess I don't know. Yeah. So the app images are not being shown, but they are definitely open. So you can clearly see that the application, those those images are not being shown of the apps, the screenshots or images are not being shown, but the apps are definitely open in the memory, as you can see. So I don't know, this was, I don't know, hopefully this was a bad flash and there are no bugs in the ROM. But what I can tell you is that I was using this ROM a day before yesterday, and there weren't any such bugs that I have been experiencing since this morning. So I, I'm not really very sure. I guess it was a bad flash, but I don't know. I haven't come across these bugs. It's only this very morning that these bugs started to show up. So I'll just move on. Then if you want to animate the uh, clear all icon when you tap on it, you just saw that animation. If you want to do that, then you can enable the rotation animation, and there are a bunch of other animation options too. So I'll just go that, and I will also toggle off the grid settings, and you can also configure the color option of, you can configure the background color of the clear all button, the icon color, the memory bar, and all that. Yeah, and talking about the memory bar, you can enable that from the general UI, and then there is an icon pack. If you have multiple icon packs, I currently don't have any installed, but if you have multiple icon packs installed, then you can configure them using this recent icon pack. So that would just specifically be applied to the recent section, and you will be having your separate icon packs for the launcher that you use. Immersive recents, if you want to enable them, then full screen, I personally use this option. Show clock and date. So this is how the recents look like, and obviously just swipe it up and you can go back to the app that you were using, and you can access that navigation bar just by swiping from either the top or the bottom. Then if you want to hide any apps from the recent apps tray, then you can configure all that in here. Slim recents, we do get these here. I personally don't use them, but if you want to have a look at what all options that we get in here, then these are the options that we have. You can configure the panel background color, the card background color, maximum allowed apps, show on the left edge, expanded mode, icon pack, again, blacklist, apps that do not have to be shown in the slim recents, recent apps sidebar, show the memory bar color, text color, you can tweak all that stuff. Interface, then we have the system UI tuner, status bar, again we have already covered this up, what all you can hide a couple of icons from in there. Then show with volume controls if you want the do not disturb mode to be shown. Okay, I'll just, now you can see that do not disturb is there since we have enabled it. Then we have the navigation bar settings. So I won't recommend you to use this navigation bar editor, because we already have a full-fledged editor in the navigation section. I'll just be covering that up. So I would not recommend you to use this, but if you want to just have a look at the options, then extra left button type, you can switch this, whatever you want. You can enable the keyboard switcher, key code, clipboard, or just hide any icon, and then extra right button type. So yeah, and by the way, we have just set up our Instagram page. I haven't posted any images there, but a couple of people have. I just set this up that this very morning, and I'll be having link to that our Instagram page down below in the socials links. So if you are Instagram, yeah, please follow us, and we will be posting regular images there. Our blog posts, all those updates would be posted on Instagram too, just like we have our postings on Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus. Then we have the lock screen tweaks, so you can configure the left and the right bottom lock screen shortcuts. Then in that three dotted menu, there was that remove from settings option if you want to do that. Fingerprint settings, fingerprint authentication vibration, and fingerprint unlock. So basically this option, what this does is every time that you reboot your phone and you try to unlock it with your fingerprint, you will have to enter your pin or pattern lock, whatever you use. But if you just want your device to be unlocked with simply a fingerprint, then just enable this option, and the next time you power on your device, you can simply unlock with your fingerprint. Blur personalizations, we have the blur settings in here, so a lot of options. You can just tweak this all by yourself if you want to, have blur in the status bar or in the recent apps tray. Then we have the display size. Again, a lot of options in here. There are a couple of different sizes in here. So this is what the default style looks like, and this is the large style, and this is the small style. So you can just tweak this however you want to. I'll just go back to default, and yeah, then you can configure the DPI heads up notifications. As I've already told you, I personally don't. I'm not a fan of heads up, so I'll just disable them and I instead have notification ticker enabled. But to make sure that if you have one enabled, then you disable the other. Dashboard settings. So this how the settings dashboard looks like. Configurations style. If you want to have tabs, classic, or the bottom navigation. This is what we had, I guess. This was originally built by Dirty Unicorns, and this has been imported from there. So if you want that kind of style, if you're a fan of that, personally, I would go back to the just go back and uh, so where was that option? Okay, so I'll just toggle back to the configuration side. All right. So we were in the interface settings and dashboard. So dashboard conditions, if you want to have the dashboard conditions are enabled, dashboard suggestions, then custom error summary text in the settings application. If you just want to have that, and randomized summaries. So pre-written summaries will be selected at random and will change every time. And there are a couple of funny ones. If I'll just quickly go and show you guys that, go to settings, and don't mess with the interface and every time. So this is how the random quick setting tiles are. This is how the random and welcome to our. So you can see that the text is randomized, and that is what I was telling you about the random header images. That is how they are supposed to work. And apparently, I don't know, let's see, I guess that we do have I guess I'll just quickly go ahead, status bar weather. I'll increase that font size. I know. I guess probably I know. I probably just likely missed that, but the status bar weather is back to working. So I guess I missed out the status bar weather because I had shrunk the font size all the way down. But yeah, I guess I somehow missed it. But okay, so that thing is working, but the header images were not working, and that quick setting tiles add that might be another bug. Next, we have the uh, I guess we are done with the dashboard settings. Now we have the volume panel settings. So we have already covered these up, and they are just they have once again placed the volume panel settings under the interface too. Sound settings, launch music app on headset connection. You can do that, enable that, or there are a bunch of other options. Screenshot sound, screen on notifications if you want to have that if no media is playing, and then smart notification sounds. So in that you can just basically set the timeout, the time limit if you want. Then we have got some theming options. So I personally, the default is light theme, and the accent color is blue. So when I'll just go back, you can see the style just changes right away. The style changes on the fly, and you don't have to perform anything like a reboot, or the styles are applied spontaneously. So you can either select the wallpapers, the background color to be, the style to be selected automatically from the wallpaper that you are using, or depending on the time of the day, or you can set the light or dark slash black background style on just manually. So I personally have the dark style enabled always, and you can tweak the accent color too, and there are a lot of options for that. I'll just go back to green, and you can see that the color changes spontaneously, and automagic will tune the style to match your wallpaper. I'll go back, and yeah, then we have got smart pixels. So this setting is only useful, is only meant for AMOLED panels. If you have a device with a LCD screen, then this setting won't help much. So enable smart pixels, auto enable on battery saver, then percent of pixels to disable. You can tweak that. There are a couple of preset options, and then to prevent burn in by shifting pixels every 15, 30, 1 minute or hour or so, anything that you want. Then we have got the expanded desktop. Again, you can enable an expanded desktop for the apps that you want. Call settings. This is where you can enable the vibrations, vibrate on connect, call waiting, disconnect, or less annoying call notifications. So vibrate instead of playing a sound for the incoming notification. Screenshot options. You can configure the screenshot type, take full screen screenshots, or just have take partial screenshots. Screenshot delay, and then screenshot editor. So what this will basically do is screenshot editor. You can choose the app that is that should be shown, that should be executed when you tap on the edit button from the screenshot notification. um, Lastly, we have the miscellaneous section, so you can tweak the battery saver color, uh, show the floating button when in the configurations menu, wake on plug, three finger swipe, the swipe three finger just to take a screenshot. All right, and there we go with the screenshot. And if you want to have a look at that edit button, I'll just expand this notification. All right, I'll go back and screenshot options, screenshot editor. So I'll set this to as gallery, and maybe the no. Okay, so I'll go ahead and take another screenshot, and hopefully the edit option would be shown this time around. All right. Now you can see that we have the edit option here, and when I tap on that, it will open up the image in gallery, and that too straight into the edit layout. And talking about the gallery, you can there are a bunch of other options. You can tweak the filters, you can also apply frames to the images, you can crop the image, straighten the image, rotate it, and then there are different exposure values. You can change the auto color, contrast, vibration, vibrance, and sharpness. And in the end, if you want to uh, yeah, I guess that's all. All right, so I'll just discard the changes, and uh, miscellaneous settings. Then we have a sensor block per package, so this will help you in saving up some battery life. And then we have the auto keyboard rotation, disable full screen keyboard, always show the enter key. Lock screen settings, so security, quick unlock is there, and then you have the face auto unlock. So the moment it detects your face, it will just unlock that. And as I was telling you, I have been using this from I just clean flashed it today, but I was using this before that too, before today too. So face unlock worked fine. And the battery usage on now the Redmi Note 3 has a 40-50 milliamp hour battery, and it easily lasted me throughout the day. If you want to know the screen on time, then that was about 6.5 hours to 7 hours. And um, calling, VoLTE, mobile data, everything was working fine. I didn't have any performance fluctuations. This one probably was a bad flash because there are a couple of bugs that I hadn't noticed before. So you shouldn't be having any issues actually. And even if you do run into issues, then you can contact for support in the Telegram group of Resurrection Remix. I'll be having that one linked below too. And always you can always go back to the XDA thread for your device and post the bugs there too. Yeah, so getting back to the settings that we have in here, you have no quick settings on secure tiles. So if you want to disable the quick settings panel on the lock screen, you can enable this. You can disable this option if you want to enable the quick setting. If you want to have the quick setting tiles on the lock screen, then you can enable this option. Then power menu, lock screen visibility, reboot, advanced reboot. You can just toggle on each and every option. Airplane mode, screen record, on the go mode, and flashlight. And an option for advanced reboot is also present in the developer options. So if you want to enable that from there, you can do that too. Lock UI, battery info, display music cover art, clock widget, date widget, alarm text, notification count. So you can choose the maximum number of notifications. The minimum is 0. The maximum is the minimum value is 0, and the maximum can be 8. Um, Ambient music ticker, again, this is that ticker option that we have in here. uh, so enabled and forced minimal, and battery percent on ambient display. So if you just want to have that enabled, you can do that. Weather, so we have talked about weather, and weather display, location display, and the condition icon display. So I'll just show you guys the lock screen and middle screen, and I'll just show you guys the lock screen after I'm done covering up with all the settings that we have under the configurations menu. So I'll then show you guys what we have under the I'll then show you guys the lock screen, because there's some animation that I want to show you. So I'll hold on till then, and you can configure the bottom lock screen shortcuts and the middle ones. Button settings, we have got a bunch of options in here. Hardware keys, you can disable the hardware keys, allow the button backlight, l- linked to the screen brightness, so that will change accordingly. And this is really helpful when you are using your phone in the dark, and at that time you decrease the screen brightness. In Nougat I had this problem when the hardware, when the backlit keys were so bright and the screen was dark. So the backlit keys, the brightness, the light from that would really kind of irritate your eyes. But now that we have the setting, you can link both the bright screen brightness and the backlit keys brightness. Then button action, backlight touch, and then you can configure the single tap action, long press action, and the double tap actions for all the hardware keys that we have. And if you want to have a look at the options, you can choose the default settings or select any application, and these are the list of options that we have in the custom actions. Yeah, moving on, we now have the power menu settings. So you can configure what all you want to be what all you want to be shown in the power menu. We have already covered this up, but this is once again here, advanced reboot. So this is present in 3 locations. Again, you can tweak that. um, End call, touch the power button, you can cut the call using the power button. Long press for torch, and then automatically turn off the torch. Volume rocker keys, you can use it to wake the device. Answer call, control the media playback, or control the ringtone volume instead of the media volume. By default it is set for controlling the ringtone volume. Then you have got playback control, you can tweak that. Keyboard cursor control, you can set that up to reorient the volume keys when the device is rotated. Then we have got the volume steps too. The minimum value is 5 and the maximum is 60. I guess the last time around the minimum value was 15 and the maximum was 60. So they have increased the range in Oreo. Prevent, and then under extras we have the prevent accidental touch and pocket detection. Navigation settings, this is where we have 3 options. This is the full-fledged navigation bar editor that I was telling you about. So if you want to use that default editor, then you will have to set the navigation mode to as default. Or otherwise, if you want to use either smart bar or flink, then you can use this navigation editor from in here. So smart bar settings, I'll just quickly start the editor. And so what all options that you can do is, quickly I'll just show you what all you can do. So if you want to start editing your navigation bar, you can add any extra icons to the navigation bar. You can configure their single tap, double tap, and long press actions, just like we saw in the hardware key section. And you can also add an icon, and then you can configure the how that icon should look like. And for that you must be having either an icon pack, or you can set a custom image, select a custom image from the gallery. So I'll go back, and yeah, so these are all the options that we have. You can remove the buttons, you can just cancel, finish. So I'll just remove this. And then you can we have the context buttons, layout position, right or left, input method and media actions, input slash media arrows. I personally prefer to have this enabled, and I'll just be showing you why. uh, I'll be once again covering this option up when we go get to pulse. Then we have the button touch animation, if you want to have the ripple animation. Okay, and what I'll do is I will quickly just save this, and now we get the navigation bars working. All right, so this is the button touch animation. Currently we have the ripple animation in working. And if I go back to settings, this is the spring animation. All right, and this is the flip animation. And uh, this is the pixel animation. And then you can enable for all the buttons for home button only. And in the end we have the combination of pixel and ripple animation. So this is how that looks like. And then you can configure the long press delay, and button transparency, icon scaling, pixel navigation bar animation. You can configure all those horizontal duration, vertical duration, and all that stuff. So dot colors, so there are a lot of options. uh, and then you have the double tap to sleep for the navigation bar. Then we do get fling as well. I will quickly go ahead and cover that up. um, Fling. So fling settings, I personally don't use fling that much, but still I'll let you guys have a look at what all options do we get. Right short swipe, you can configure what that does. Long swipe, and similarly we have got single tap gestures, double tap, and the dynamic keyboard cursors action. Long press right, You can show the fling logo, animate it, custom logo, fling logo opacity, ripple actions, and there are all other options. I'll just go back and select smart bar again, and you can also configure the portrait and landscape width of the navigation bar and pulse. So these are basically, as I guess you would know, that these are music equalizers which are shown in the navigation bar whenever an audio track or a video is playing. So there are a couple of options that we have in here. You can firstly select the render mode, fading blocks or solid lines. I personally prefer solid lines. So I will quickly go ahead and go to music and play a just play something. Um, all right, so um, okay, so let's take this. So I'll just decrease the volume a bit, and as I told you, I wanted to tell you about the context button, as I promised you. Go back to settings, go back to settings and configurations, and the stock music player does support colored media notifications if you want to know that. Go back to navigation, and under smart bar settings we covered up the input method and media arrows. So this is particularly useful in here. So currently you can see this is the track that is playing, and if I just do the next, uh, so then you can just quickly change tracks using this input and media arrows. So I just find this really useful. um, yeah. uh, and this also works when if you are using a keyboard and you are typing some kind of text, and if you just want to quickly just edit something, then you can make use of these media arrows too. So going to the pulse settings, firstly you can select the automatic pulse color. So this option was added to the dirty unicorns interface package in only in Oreo only. This wasn't present in Nougat or earlier Android versions. So what this does is it matches the text uh, of the media art that you are using. Currently, you can see that we have some whitish background, and the color is matching in Pulse. So when I will change to Beyond Samsung, again you can see that the blue color is being matched. And when I will play the next track, you can clearly see that the media cover art and the pulse color is matching. So this is what that option does. And so these are I just quickly want to show you guys all. Now if you don't like the color that the pulse music equalizer is displaying, and if you want to change it to something else, so if you just want to change this to red, I'll just tap on this and it will, you can see that the pulse color has been changed. And smoothing, for smoothing you can this is how the pulse music equalizers look like without the smoothing enabled. And when I will enable smoothing, you can clearly see that the pulse is now animated more smoothly. So this is what that does. And if you want to turn on lava lamp, then the what this will do is I'll quickly just go ahead and set a start and an end color. So let's say I'll pick some shade of green as the start color and red as the end color. So the pulse color will start from green, and it will then slowly and steadily transform into red. So you can see that the pulse color has now changed to yellow, it's now orange, and now it will just translate to red. So there we have it. And back after red, it will now start going back to green, and that's how pulse works. All right. Then we have I will quickly go ahead and show you the options that we have for solid lines opacity too. So this is the solid lines count that we have in here. You can configure that. This is the solid lines count. The maximum value is 128, and you can decrease that if you want to. uh, Opacity, I don't think that you can change it when you have the lava lamp enabled, so I'll just turn that off. And now you can configure the solid lines opacity too. Then you can configure the sanity level as well. Just go back, and there you can see, so this is the sanity level. Then lava lamp speed, you can change how fast that transition should be made from different colors. So that's all what we have in pulse. I'll just pause the music track. uh, yeah, so that's all what we have in here. Moving on, we now have the animations. System animations. So all the animation options in here have the same set of animations. So I'll just show you the options that we have for activity open animation, and these are the animations that you can choose from. All right, so these are the options that we have. And as I have said, all the other options have the same set of options. And anyway, list animations. You have different options in here too. I will just quickly show you guys what all those different animations are. So let's say that we select the translate left animation, and so I'll quickly open up Instagram, and I'll just go through my feed, and that should give you guys an idea on how that list view animation works. So I will I'll just quickly just go through the animations, and now you can see how that list starts popping up. So I'll just I will let some photos load up, and then that animation will become more clear. So now you can see that all those how those animations are loading up. And now when I change that to say something as stack top, uh, then the animations will start stacking up. You can just see that. So you can have different animations whatever you like. There are a couple of other options, and then this last option of list view interpolator, that again I will just it's more easy to understand this visually. So you can just see that there's that bouncing effect right in the end. um, right, so there's that bouncing effect right in the end. So that's what this list view animation does. Toast, if you just want to have the toast icon enabled, I personally have the these are all the options that we have. um, and you can see that list view animation is kicking in here as well. So I'll just have the slide right animation, and I will disable the list view animation, so that I just hope that no one of you found that irritating. Then we have the scrolling modifiers. If you use that, you can configure the fling velocity, scroll friction, over scroll distance, and the over fling distance. Scrolling cache, and this helps in improving the scrolling performance. Then you can force enable, default disable, or force disable. Screen off animations, and this is where I want to show you the lock screen. So this is the default animation that we have for the lock screen. Yeah, and when I just switch it back on, uh, all right, I guess you have to give it some time for the lock screen to load up, otherwise it will just automatically open up the screen. Now I'll set the animation to as CRT, and then we have the scale animation. All right, I guess I double tapped on the camera, and yeah, actually the lock screen should have loaded up, but again I'll just try and show you guys the lock screen too. um I don't know, I don't think that I have the lock screen disabled, so I'll just quickly go back to the security settings and see that security and privacy. All right, I guess I just disabled the lock screen somehow. Anyway, so this is how the lock screen looks like, and I had enabled the weather. So I'll just turn this off, turn it on, and yeah, now you can see that the weather is being shown, but the image from here is apparently missing. So yeah, um uh, all right, so we are almost done, I guess. We have already seen everything else, and buttons, navigation, animations, and then you can configure the animation tabs. How the this is the default animation that we have between the tabs, and if you want to change something in this animation, then there are a lot of options. So yeah, this is all that we have. Then gestures, these are the edge gestures. Now I tried this out. I had used these for a while, but Some most of the times I'm not really I didn't feel like using these gestures because when you are the biggest complaint that I had was that when I was in the app drawer, sometimes when you have to when you have to do a back gesture, you have to press from the sides. You can press from either the right half or the left half, and for accessing the recents panel or the home gesture, what you have to do is for the recents gesture, you have to just swipe up and hold for a while, and then that will bring the recent tray. But somehow, as you can see, as you even saw right now, this gesture did not work for me at times. And the home gesture, though, that did work, as you can see. But most of the times, when there were times when I was trying to open the app drawer, and instead I ended up opening the recent tray. I mean, that happened at times. So I ended up disabling the gestures entirely. I don't use gestures, so I'm more sort of the navigation guy, and I simply just disable the gestures. But you can configure them: haptic feedback duration, delay until long press action starts, then trigger a back gesture from left, right, both sides. I had that enabled for both sides. Then trigger back gesture on landscapes from both sides, and then trigger below percentage of screen. So you can use the gestures; they are there, but I don't use them. So I'll just go back and enable the navigation. Yeah. Then we have got gesture anywhere is there. You also have the app circle bar and pie controls. uh, Again, there are some theming options too. You can choose automatic white or dark theme, battery indicator, network indicator, pie gravity, and all that. So just disable them. And miscellaneous tweaks, suspend action, weather service settings, uh, and then the IME settings. We have already covered these up. About, you can view the change log, features, share the ROM, and then the drill, check out the website, and pitch black theme, official Substratum theme of Resurrection Remix, and the ROM does support Substratum. Uh, yeah, so devices and maintainers, you can have a look at the people who are behind the ROM, the great guys who have built this ROM. So yeah, this is all that we have in the configuration section. Then under battery settings, you can battery saver and performance. We have the automatic power saver. The maximum percentage is 25%, and sleep timeout, the maximum limit is 30 minutes and the minimum is 15 seconds. And yeah, that's all what we have in here. And then if you battery optimization, show full device usage, all those basic options are there. uh, then under display settings, we have got brightness level, adaptive brightness, live display, uh, and under live display, you have the reading mode is there, color calibration, you can do that, you can configure the RGB. Basically this is the KCAL control. Then reduce power consumption, that option is there too. Style, that basically lets you choose the background and accent colors. We have already covered this up. Rotation settings, font size, display size, screensaver, ambient display, and then prevent accidental wake up, ambient display gestures. We have already covered everything up. um, so sound settings, this is where media volume, alarm, ringtone, and notification volume. And then if you don't want the notification and ring volume to be linked, you can disable that. uh, and then under advanced settings, you can configure the notification and alarm sounds, and then the dial pad tones, screen locking sounds, charging sounds, and under charging sounds, you also have the vibration option, and you can select a custom sound for that. Touch sounds, vibrate on tap, volume adjustment sounds, emergency alerts. You can just configure all that. Moving on, we now have the storage settings. This is what we have in here. Then under security and privacy, you do get your trust, and this is something new that LineageOS introduced. So basically, this tells you how secure your device is. SC Linux should be enforcing root access, Android security patches, and encryption. And then you also have the SMS message limit. You can configure that. And then you also have the privacy guard, and there are a couple of changes in privacy guard. So I will cover them up. And this is a really long video. This has turned out to be a really long video. uh, but yeah, anyway, so now there are a couple of other options that we have in here, such as the control to external storage. There are now options for reading and writing to external storage. And There were options for, I guess, just let me go ahead and go to device, and yeah, let's go to Instagram. Yeah, and there were options for display toast too. Yeah, so this was what I was looking for. There was an option for display toasts and get accounts. So get accounts and display toasts. So this was these are the another two options that we have in here. There might be a couple of other options now too, but these are the two ones that we have new. These are the two new options that we have now. And face unlock worked fine too if you want to know about that. And you can also configure the lock screen message, display music visualizers, and display the media cover art. um, yeah, so that's all what we have in here. uh, and then under users and accounts, and I mentioned this in each and every ROM review that I do, please make sure that you fill out this emergency information, so that uh, if God forbid this happens with you, if you ever run into any kind of emergency and someone tries to uh, call your call your parents or your loved ones, then they can view this emergency information. They can view your name, address, blood type, allergies, medications, organ donor, medical notes. So all that stuff can be, and you can also add some contacts. So make sure you fill up this information, because you do not know when this might come in handy, and this information can even be accessed over a secured lock screen. So that's the benefit of that. Then under system settings, we also have the system profiles. Again, there you can just tweak that around. When should a profile be triggered, and volume overrides and everything. System settings and all that stuff can be changed when a profile is enabled. What all should be activated and what all should be changed. Then you can also add profiles if you want to. Then we have the developer options. uh, Advanced restart, as I've already told you, this option is there too. Then you have the Bluetooth HCI Snoop log, system UI demo mode. Just if you want to take pretty screenshots, then this just comes in handy. um, then Android debugging is here. Local terminal, you can, if you use a mock location app, then there's a setting for that. um, then we have some Wi-Fi settings, Bluetooth settings, all the codecs, etc. If you use them, if you use Bluetooth earphones, then you can configure those codecs. uh, Animation settings are in here too. If you want to just speed them up, you can do that. GPU settings, and yeah, yes, that's all what we have in here. And then if you want to force allow apps on external storage, then you can enable this option, and force all the activities to be resizable, then that option can also be enabled. So yeah, that's pretty much what we have in the settings menu. I guess I've already showed you guys the gallery, the editor. Basically, I have shown you that. But if you still just want to have a look at the gallery itself, you have options for viewing photographs sorted in your timeline, albums, videos, and all that. You can view that. And I guess I will, if I can play any video. Let me just pull this on up, and video player just once. Hi guys, welcome to AndroGuider. I'll just decrease the volume, and well, you do have those this ROM is sliding controls. So if that's important, those are there. uh, then you have applications for email, files, FM radio is there, by the way. So music, and the stock music player does have uh, it supports media color notifications, as you saw. And then under settings, you can show music visualization, shake to play, and then lock screen album art, delete cache, and all that stuff. So yeah, that's all what we have in the music player. And then obviously those playlists. All right, so all those basic options of playlists and all that stuff is present too. um yeah, I guess so we are pretty much done with this ROM review. I'll just quickly show you guys the wallpapers that we have. This is the Google wallpapers, and particularly I just want to show you the on device wallpaper. There's only one, so nothing much to choose from, but you do get wallpapers. You can download those wallpapers from the Google store, from the Google app, from Google wallpapers application. Then this is all what we have in here. These are the set of widgets that you get. If you want to have a weather widget, then you can have that, you know uh, condition icon pack, background shadow, service settings, and you can tweak all that stuff, and you can get the weather forecast for the next couple of days. And we also do get that clock widget that was there. I really used this widget a lot back in Marshmallow, and weather panel in here, cancel, uh, allow, and weather source. Now for this you will have to download an additional APK file if you want to use the inbuilt weather provider. This is the weather provider that also is there in LineageOS, and since Resurrection Remix is based on LineageOS, only that weather source option is there. So if you want to use that widget, then you will have to download some other weather source, and I'll be having a couple of them linked down below in the description box. So if you want to enable a weather source, then you can check out those. um yeah, and home settings, you can configure the grid size, and this is basically the grid size of all these applications. So currently this is a grid size of uh, the layout. Traditionally I have what I have been taught in mathematics is that grid size is rows into columns, but this operates on columns into rows. So that's how this is a 4 by 5 grid currently, and you can tweak that if you want to. Currently you can see that this is a 4 by 5 grid. So if you want to tweak that grid size, you can do that. And then you can also change the icon pack, and swipe down to show notifications gesture is there now. Show icon labels on desktop, predictive apps, show icon labels in the drawer, icons shape, and notification dots. And when you tap on notification dots, you get another bunch of options. Yeah, so I guess we are pretty much done with this video. And the by the way, the power menu also gets themed if you want to know that. Yeah, I guess, guys, this has already turned out to be a pretty long video. So I hope you I don't know if you really followed along for this long. Then thanks for watching, and yeah, if you like this video, give this one a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really helps a lot. So thanks for watching. Have a nice day, take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.